ISIT has evolved rapidly over the years with a unified objective of adopting strategic rules to address both an organization's internal and external circumstances. ISIT, past, present, and future. ISIT in the past, between the 60s and 90s, was driven by internal organizational needs with a greater aim of lowering transactional costs, business process redesign, and offering just support for collecting and distributing information. The technology and information models were application, data, user, and business-driven, meaning there was a good understanding of infrastructure with the target of the organization and business process ecosystem. For example, Vodafone launched its 1G mobile data standard in the late 80s to improve network capacity. This was made possible by a change in its transmitter infrastructure so as to allow the division of radio waves into honeycomb cells. However, in this era, there are hundreds of stories of companies that ran into significant problems when automating and transforming their business processes, especially when ISIT is at the heart of the change. Hence, business should be defined before finding a technology for it. For example, Vodafone encountered limited expansion with their change in network capacity by the 1G launch, as availability of the radio spectrum was not much, thus couldn't provide services that technology around them was building on. One thing to note with the beginning of each era was that organizations adopted a strategic role for ISIT for both their internal and external circumstances. There was an increasing interest in innovating infrastructure to ensure that they are not affected by rival companies with innovative business models. For example, Vodafone launched 2G where GSM was engineered to achieve a digital circuit switched network optimization for full duplex telephony. That means calls would be handled in a reliable fashion. At this time, there was stiff competition from other providers. To be able to stay ahead of the game, they introduced internet connectivity where WAP gave way to Urge. Moving on, organizations started experiencing the need to have ISIT play a value creation role with a target of customers and suppliers. This meant that information models had to be knowledge and people driven. The dominating technology has evolved to client-server distributed intelligence, internet global, ubiquitous intelligence with the ability of incorporating social platforms, social networks, mobile and cloud computing. Another example is Vodafone launched the revolutionary 3G in 2003, which allowed for more bandwidth, meaning more networking across organizations and people with the ability to support social media platforms. The future of ISIT is in relation to business objective is to have a value extension for community and social businesses, foregoing new relationships with a target on customers, employees and suppliers. Technology should be able to promote social media platforms with the possibility of achieving Internet of Things and a good trade-off between economics of relationships and economics of information. For example, Vodafone launched 4G in August 2013 in London. The mission now is to extend coverage to every single place in the country, with possibility of innovation such as attaching entertainment by partnering with entities like Sky Sports Mobile TV, Spotify Premium, or Now TV at no extra cost.
How does this support business objectives? The past, present, and future evaluation has enabled business to perform the following in terms of supporting their objectives. The evaluation has allowed for understanding of customers who are both customers and suppliers. In our Vodafone study, these are subscribers who use the network for communication and phone development companies that depend on their services for building up their technology on. It has also allowed organizations to restructure their infrastructure to ensure they are capable of achieving growth. For example, Vodafone's growth from 1G to the futuristic 4G. It has ensured organizations are able to innovate to keep up with current technological advancements around them. For example, Vodafone with their mobile device capability and consumer preferences. It has also allowed organizations to think more strategically for the future by innovating and attaching extras to every new advancements so as to attract more customers as to have good market leadership. It has allowed for more collaboration across the whole organization. For example, Vodafone with its far-reaching network and good network analytics are able to detect specific points of failures to ensure both main and redundant links never fail.
Strategic choices available to businesses when formulating an IS/IT strategy and its implementation within a global context. When formulating an IS/IT strategy and implementing it in a global context, organizations have to consider existing external or global forces, alignment of the internal processes to cope or benefit from those forces, and strategic alliances to allow them compete in a global context. Using Vodafone and the telco industry as an example, the external or global forces to consider are as follows. The bargaining power of consumers, which is high, where we see that there is lack of differentiation among service providers, high competition, low switching costs, and lack of brand loyalty. The bargaining power of suppliers, which is medium, as there are few major suppliers, lack of substitutes, outsourcing of network from abroad, common platform across the group, and high switching costs. The threat of substitutes, which is medium to high, as landline users are declining, there's good infrastructure for video conferencing, and very few companies are providing 4G. The threat of new entrants, which is low, due to huge license fees paid upfront, high initial capital, complex regulatory issues, infrastructure costs which are high, and rapid changing technology. Industry competition, which is high, with competition from Virgin Media, O2, Sky, TalkTalk, and less brand loyalty due to open market for competition. Next, we look at internal processes or activities performed in order to deliver a valuable product or service for local and global markets. This is considered as a value chain. The areas to focus are people, in terms of skills and career development, customer obsession, in terms of customer-centric KPIs, global scale, in terms of buying partnerships, operational excellence, in terms of demand management, end-to-end performance management, supplier relationship management, in terms of joint governance, transparency of activities, and sustainable supply chain, which is continued focus on environmental and ethical procurement. In an example of Vodafone, the value chain can be summarized as below. Next thing to consider is strategic alliances, which involves partnering with entities to boost popularity and maintain customer loyalty both locally and globally. In our Vodafone case, the organization has partnered with entities like Sky Sports Mobile TV, Spotify Premium, or Now TV at no extra cost, so as to push for popularity of 4G on their platform. In conclusion, combining the internal, external, and strategic choices leads to coming up with strategic decisions which need to be aligned with organization mission and vision to generate an IS/IT strategy which can be applicable in both a local and global context.